Hey guys, it's Avondale and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Walls, where I take you behind the walls of the Noxcrew game show. As always, I'd like to remind you that if you haven't watched today's episode, make sure you check the top right hand corner of your screen. I'll have a link for you to click right there, so you can go watch it before we spoil anything for you. So as you can see, today we're talking about Bridge 3 Far, and as you learned in the last episode where we talked about Gridlock, I had to leave and go to work, so I missed this game too. Luckily, I have two people here today who didn't miss the game. I have Niall and Skyao.
Hi, everybody. Can we stop this now, please, Sky? I'm feeling sick.
And Skyao says hey. So Skyao is going to be typing in chat, and Niall is going to be talking with me, and somehow between the three of us, we're going to tell you guys a little bit about how this game was made, where it came from specifically, and then sort of what played out during the episode. So let's start off with, you know, the fact it's Bridge 3 Far. There's a number, man. What in the world?
Alright, yeah, so the original idea was conceived by Sky after she said that she really wanted to fix this. So basically, we had Bridge 2 Far in the pilot season, and it was probably one of the most underwhelming. It was definitely one of the poorer games that we had in the pilot season, so this was an attempt to fix and rejuvenate the game and actually make it into something new. So it was officially, yeah. So what were the general ideas that you had, Skyao? Like, what did you want to do to make this game better than the first game?
Oh, while she's typing that, I'm going to mention it's Bridge 3 Far because it's better, so 3 is more than 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure, a lot of that was figured out already. So, as we're reading that, you think back to Bridge 2 Far, right? The reason it didn't work so well was not necessarily because the concept of it was flawed, right? Like, building a bridge over water is a really interesting mechanic in Minecraft because, you know, you have to stand on the edge of the block and hold shift and do this, and that can get infinitely more dangerous the more other things that you have to do beside it. And that's why the idea was interesting. It was just carried out in a really underwhelming way, right? In that episode, there was just a lot of, oh neat, they did that. Oh great, now it's the next thing. And
well, it was also
game
the fact
over.
That, like, it was the fact that we told them that, you know, like, you had to build in a straight line, like, really just made the game lose one of the biggest interest factors of the game, which is, in Minecraft you can build, so why not just build how you want to build? And one of the big ideas of this game was saying, hey, let's just give them the blocks and let them figure out the strategy they want to use. And the biggest part of this game was designing it in a way that we could give them that, you know, that difference in strategy. You can build however you want to build, and, you know, you can spend more blocks on a bridge to make it safer, to make it more defensible, but if you do that, yeah, exactly, every different team, every combination of people that we tested always had a different way. We were always trying new things, which made this one of the better games because
every single time. And interestingly, as a side note, we say that people always had different ideas, but after we were done with this game, it had already been played a couple times. We were standing here one day, and I said, hey, couldn't we just do like this? And so I did this, right? I think it took that many blocks right there, 9 blocks total, and you can get up over here and you could jump up onto this black part. Now, that's why these barrier blocks are here now, but before that, there wasn't any barrier blocks here. So you could literally just come up, run along this side, and then just run straight over to the end of the game and be done with it.
We
kind of
would have
interesting.
stopped that recording.
Yeah,
we would have just shut that down straight away.
No, we don't rig anything. What are you talking about?
We've actually been lucky. We've not had to restart a game due to a bug or an error, I don't think.
At this point in the games that you guys have seen, we haven't, but there was 2 occasions throughout the season where we had to restart the game, and it was always right within the first 30 seconds, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice. But I'll be sure to tell you guys about those in the Behind the Walls episodes for those games.
So, yeah, one of the first mechanics that Skyao came up with, and Skyao, feel free to add whatever you want here, was basically we were going to use these targets here, the minecart targets that we talked about in Shoot 'em Down, and they were going to be attached to pipes. The pipes would then be attached to floating pipes on the team side that would dispense coloured. It was originally coloured wool, but we changed it to coloured clay just so we had like a block differentiation for redstoning reasons.
Right, and I want to cut you off real quick because I want to cut us over to something that we had been working on previously. So you might have noticed that there are 3 floating pipes in the middle for each team's color, right? And you're trying to shoot the targets. So like if I'm blue team here, I'm standing on my side over here, I'm trying to shoot the targets over there. The helicopters drop the blocks into the pipes and they drop down on my side. They weren't always supposed to be floating pipes, were they, Skyao? Skyao and I, at the beginning of the development of this game, spent a whole bunch of time trying to figure out how we could interlock all of these so that they would actually connect. And we we ended up deciding that it wasn't really possible, and maybe we were wrong, but we were trying to make it symmetrical, and we wanted to have it look like the pipes actually dropped the blocks over to you, but we just could not figure out a way that we could actually link these pipes up symmetrically without having them cross straight through each other.
So once we had that mechanic, we knew that there'd be certain places that the pipes would be dropping the wool, or clay, as it happens. So that led to one of the first kind of development issues, which was we found that if the wall was too low here, you could actually just stand. I'll just raise it up a bit here. Yeah, we found you could just stand on the actual thing and just spam the target. So one of the first things that we had to decide to do was make sure that the wall was high enough that if you were standing on these platforms, you couldn't just spam the target in order to collect as much wool as you wanted.
As I missed repeatedly.
Yeah, even there like 1 block higher, so yeah. Okay. So this was a very, very this was a very, very deliberately built section here.
Right.
Another thing that we thought of was when you're placing blocks, we wanted it so that you could only place blocks from the actual initial location, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't want people to be able to fall into the water and then reach up from underneath and place. Yeah. So we didn't want them to be able to place place blocks from down in the water here, because we found that from bridge too far that made the game really, really easy, and there wasn't a whole lot of penalty for falling in the water. Whereas if you fall in the water in this game, you're not going to get a lot done.
Yeah, and keep in mind you can reach a little bit further in Game Mode 2 than you can in Creative. Or so the other way around, sorry. Yeah, I can't reach that in Game Mode 2.
Yeah. Now, this isn't to say that it's impossible to build blocks down. Skyao, do you want to demonstrate? Okay, nearly. It's
you guys are doing it the hard way. I just did it from down here when I played the other day. I stopped right here, and I was just like, boop, and I got that, and then I jumped in the water, and I was able to reach and move it down some more. Although, I just realized I did a stupid thing. When I was down here, I was like, I gotta make them into stairs, and so I like did it that way, but you really don't. You can just drop it straight down here. Yeah. Like that, and then just go right across.
Now, one of the interesting strategies here is if you do figure that out and you do manage to do that, like, you're spending more blocks, but it means that you do have the possibility to potentially build out to these things and just grab all the wool and make it nice and easy for you to move between the wall and the bridge.
Right.
That being said, I mean, like, all of these blocks here would have extended you out nearly to, I don't know, probably there. And by this point, when you're building across just a straight line bridge, you're nearly all of the way there anyway. I mean, it's only going to take me... I mean, I'm just making estimates here, but it's not going to be that many more before you're able to jump across.
Alright, so Skyao is posting some stuff in chat here. I'm just going to have Niall read them out for you guys.
Yeah. In the original game, when the bridge was only allowed to be straight, the targets were around the players while they built the bridge, which allowed for a tactic where they 100% focus on getting blocks and ignoring the other team. In this game, the interaction is forced, making the game a lot more engaging. Basically, we deliberately set them in opposite corners as opposed to setting them on like the same side, which means that as soon as they walk out the gates, they see each other, and the first thing they're going to do is not go for the targets. It did. They're going to go for each other. And then the next thing they're going to see is those targets, but the targets is in the direct line of sight of the path that they're building, and likewise...
exactly. Every time I shoot one of these targets, my arrow is going to whiz past Niall's head when he's up trying to shoot back at me. The players are always in your mind because they are in line with the other objective of the game. So it mixes the PvP aspect with the, I guess, puzzle, maybe, aspect? I don't know, it's tough to sort of classify that one.
Yeah, you can't ignore the other players in this game, and what's really interesting is once they get to the point, once they get to the point where they're actually past the initial, like, to about here in the bridge, when they get to the other side, like, you can't shoot at them. And you can't even shoot at, like, the last half here, so you really have to be mindful that you need to be out on your own bridge if you want to stop those people from jumping off the end of their bridge onto the finish part here.
Yep.
And what this ends up with a really, really, really interesting catch-up mechanic, which is once 3 people are on this side, like, they're just going to run straight for their own bridge and stop firing at the other team. Sorry, straight for their own finish and stop firing at the other team. And that leaves the other team free to also go to their finish, meaning that there's a break point in the game. There's a break point in every one of these games where everyone stops firing and just guns it for the finish line.
Alright.
And whoever's in the best position to actually get that will win the game. So that's what the game comes down to.
So there was a really interesting dynamic in this matchup because it was the one quote-unquote YouTuber team that existed amongst a sea of community-based teams. And they were matched up pretty well with 50 Shades of Awesome. Really, like, the skill level between the two teams was really similar, and it made for, well, certainly a close first game. Gridlock got a little blown wide open, but
was a blowout.
Yeah, but yeah, this game as well, super close. 50 Shades was obviously able to clutch it out in the end, but I found it interesting that at the beginning, the teams started out trying to sabotage each other, but by the time they got to the end, it was really, more along the lines of let's just get the bridges built as fast as we can. They sort of strayed away from shooting a little bit, and that lack of sort of assigned defense was probably what cost the Tyrants. Like, they were already behind when they tried that strategy.
Yeah, and it's really... I think a lot of the bow PvP games we've seen, like, the better team was going to be the team that stays on the other team and really focuses to make sure that they actually they are shooting at the other team. Yeah, it's really interesting, like, the strategies that the contestants employ. We can never predict them. But it was really interesting that we didn't think anybody was actually going to build down, by the way. Like, we did not think that was going to be a thing. But nevertheless, one team decided it would be a very good idea to build down, to shield themselves, and that ended up costing them in the end. And we were arguing about it right up until the game actually got shot. We were like, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's going to be a waste of blocks, and the other people are saying, no, it's really strategically smart. And, if it plays out again, it could be that the people that do build down or do build more blocks will take it.
I'll tell you one thing I was surprised I didn't see was this type of strategy here where you build out about this far, you build back, and then you build yourself a shield, and you stand here and you start pegging people from here. That's a really common PvP strat on a lot of online Minecraft games, and I wondered if we might have seen it as blocking the targets. Yeah. I think we might have told the contestants sort of to not do that, if I remember correctly. That is an interesting strategy.
Yeah, because from the starting position you can see only 2 of the 3 targets. Like, that's another design thing. That's like, if you're on the starting platform, Avon, like, you cannot shoot all 3 targets, which means that your clay output is going to be increased as soon as you build your bridge up, even just a few blocks, right? Even just a few blocks.
You know, you say that, but I just hit that target on the first try, so GG to me.
Yeah, well, you don't have 3 yellow team members shooting at you, so
no,
that's
really fair. But just give me props for that amazing shot. I'm so glad I caught that on video.
Okay, slow clap. And let's talk about the finish as well, because that was a close finish.
Yeah, and it is important to mention that yes, we did have a bug. The way that the finish mechanic worked initially was that you climb up here, and there are 3 separate, or there were, I should say, 3 separate command blocks checking for a person here, a person here, and a person here. And their signal was coming out. I already removed it down below, but I can sort of mimic it here with a little bit of redstone. So imagine that's your command block. It came out to here. We had it inverted once, and then this inversion here was set up to be on an AND gate. So you had 3 of these beside each other. There's a full inversion of their signals into an AND gate, which would then give you the output here. So when all 3 of these things are now powered, torch comes on and it's off, right? Now the issue with this though is there is now 1-2 ticks of delay coming out of this command block. So when the second player from Team Blue ran across through here and took, basically they were standing on here, and within 2 game ticks they got to here and updated it before the first thing had been able to shut itself off. And the result of that was that basically they got a false positive for the first blue team wins, and they got a second true positive when they actually won. It's very important to mention, though, that they actually did win that game. We didn't cut the footage any differently. You can see exactly when both of those teams finished in the episode because they spliced them, one finish and then the other. We do check that if we have anything close, like a photo finish, we want to make sure that we get the right result. And that one was the right result. It was just a registry error on the finish line.
So the TLDR of this is the redstone bugged slightly, and the
and it didn't matter.
The blue team had won. It didn't matter, but
yeah,
blue team still won.
That's the gist of it. The redstone bugged, and we got lucky because it didn't matter. This is the fix for that, by the way, that I actually just did last night. It still has a thing that's checking for people in those same locations, but it also has a double checker here that makes sure that everybody from that team is standing on sponge. So these are all attached out to AND gates, and both conditions have to be true at the same time for it to consider it a victory. So we've nailed that bug, squashed it. It's gone, and feels good when stuff like that happens.
Evan, show them the smiley face.
Where's the smiley face?
Come on, this way.
Okay, well, we'll do the smiley face.
We're doing the smiley face, guys. This is important.
Oh, wow. Would you look at that?
It was totally worth the interruption. Totally
Wonderful.
Worth it. Uh-huh.
Alrighty.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, thanks to Skyao and Niall for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us once again. I'll see you later on for the community game.
Hey, sounds good. It's coming up shortly, I'm sure.
Who knows?
Who knows? The chickens know. That's right. So until next time, I've been Avondale. Thanks for watching.
Oh no. Okay, so I just got the joke that Skyao told. You may have noticed there's a jump cut. It took me that long to get it. Because checkerboards, it's like because the game show has lots of checkerboards. You guys get it? There's checkerboards in the building.